This is Marcel Brown, the most trusted name in technology, coming at you with your technology history for April 7th and April 8th. April 7th, 1964, IBM launches the System 360 mainframe architecture, which comprise 6 compatible models complete with 40 peripherals. The line, dubbed the 360 because it addressed all types and sizes of customer, cost IBM over $5 billion to develop, and it is widely considered one of the riskiest business gambles of all time. Up until this time, computer systems, even from the same manufacturer, were generally incompatible with each other. Software and peripherals from old systems would not work with the new systems. This stifled acceptance and deployments of new systems as business customers were hesitant to lose their investments in their current systems. By developing a mutually compatible series of mainframes, customers were assured that their investments would not be lost if they purchased further System 360 models. IBM's gamble paid off handsomely, as in just the first 3 months of its release, IBM will receive $1.2 billion in orders. Within 5 years, over 33,000 units will be sold, popularizing the concept of a computer upgrade around the world. The 360 family was the most successful IBM system of all time, generating over $100 billion in revenue through the mid-1980s. It became the basis for all subsequent IBM mainframe architectures, which would hold a 65% market share in the 1990s. The 360 architecture also introduced a number of industry standards to the marketplace, such as the worldwide standard of the 8-bit byte. Its enormous popularity catapulted the business world into the technology age and transformed the computer industry. Not bad for a bunch of suits. April 7th, 1969. Steve Crocker, a graduate student at UCLA and part of the team developing ARPANET, writes the first request for comments. The ARPANET, a research project of the Department of Defense's Advanced Research Projects Agency, was the foundation of today's modern Internet. RFC1 defined the design of the host software for the communication between ARPANET nodes. This host software would be run on Interface Message Processors, or IMPs, which were the precursor to Internet routers. The host software, defined in RFC1, would later be known as the Network Control Protocol, or NCP, which itself was the forerunner to the modern TCP/IP protocol the Internet runs on today. There is a very interesting history to how RFCs came about, itself fittingly documented in RFC 1000. Long story short, the initial design of the ARPANET was not well defined. The students and researchers on the ARPANET team were expecting professionals from the government to come in and define their objectives more clearly. As it started to become evident that there was no specific design forthcoming and possibilities were being discussed informally, the working group decided that they should start writing down and organizing their ideas. However, they were also concerned that by formally documenting their concepts, that it might seem like they were taking authority and would possibly offend some hypothetical official protocol designers from the government. Therefore, Steve Crocker chose to carefully title the document Request for Comments, so that the point was made that these were not official publications and that in fact they were asking for others working on the project to add their input. As more RFC documents were written describing and defining the earliest building blocks of the ARPANET, these became the unofficial method of documentation and discussion within the ARPANET Networking Working Group, itself loosely defined in RFC 3. This laid the foundation for the eventual Internet Engineering Task Force, which today establishes many official Internet standards. Today's RFCs are the official publication of the IETF, where Internet developments are proposed and official Internet standards are defined. As of early 2023, there have been nearly 9,500 RFCs published. April 8, 1959. Mary Howes, a computer scientist for the Burroughs Corporation, holds a meeting of computer users, manufacturers, and academics at the University of Pennsylvania for the purpose of creating a common, business-oriented programming language. At the meeting, Representative Grace Hopper suggested that they ask the Department of Defense to fund the effort to create such a language. Also attending was Charles Phillips, who was director of the Data System Research Staff at the DoD, and was excited by the possibility of a common language streamlining their operations. He agreed to sponsor the creation of such a language. This was the genesis of what would eventually become the COBOL language. To this day, COBOL is still the most common programming language used in business, finance, and administrative systems for companies and governments, primarily on mainframe systems with around 200 billion lines of code still in production use. April 8th, 1983. John Sculley is named President and CEO of Apple Computer after Steve Jobs convinced him to leave his position as president of PepsiCo. While Steve Jobs wanted the position of president for himself, then CEO Mike Markkula did not think Jobs was ready to take on that responsibility. Jobs wanted Sculley based on his success growing Pepsi's market share against Coke. He wanted that same type of marketing success for Apple against IBM. Part of computer industry lore, Jobs reportedly asked Sculley, "Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world?" Ultimately, Sculley and Jobs entered into a power struggle. Sculley convinced Apple's board of directors to strip Jobs of all power within the company, and Jobs left Apple. One has to wonder how the computer industry would be different today if Steve Jobs had been given lead of his company in 1983 instead of Apple opting for, quote, adult supervision. Recent history with companies such as Facebook, Google, and even Apple since Jobs' return has shown that visionaries can make great leaders of technology companies. And that is all your tech history for today. For more, tune in next week and visit my website, thisdayintechhistory.com.
Search for and subscribe to It's 505 wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.